Hey there, Mama, and welcome back to the Nourished and Thriving Mama podcast. Today, we're going to be diving into eating the Christmas cookies with your kids, skipping the guilt while still hitting your weight loss and wellness goals. Now, the holidays are such a magical time, especially when you've got little ones. The traditions, the excitement, trying to recreate some of your own childhood while creating these new traditions with your little family. And yes, all the delicious foods that come along with this time of the year. But if you're anything like me, it is easy to kind of feel torn between wanting to enjoy all the holiday treats and staying on track with your wellness goals. Today, we're going to dive into how you can navigate the holiday eating without any guilt and still enjoy the special season with your family. And I'm going to share some of my little personal traditions that we've started doing and give you some practical tips so that you can balance and prioritize your health. So let's get into it. So one thing that I love about the holidays is how they give us this opportunity to create lasting memories with our kids. I am all about trying to stay as present in the moments with my daughter as possible. And being a mom and now having a daughter who can fully grasp the holidays, like she knows what's going on, she's excited about all the different things, it has become so much fun. We've tried to make things more about a lot of the moments and the memories and a little bit less about the food, but we still have incorporated some food elements. And I'm going to share with you some of the things that we did last year that my daughter wants to do again this year. She's already started talking about it. But last year we decided to do something a little bit different for Santa because my daughter saw on one of her little YouTube shows, the YouTube Kids shows, that you're supposed to leave Santa some cookies and milk at night. And so she was determined that we needed to do the same thing. Now, Santa doesn't always want to have cookies at like midnight when you finally get the little ones to bed because they're so excited about the next day. So instead of doing the usual sugar-packed cookies, we left out a protein cookie for Santa, along with milk and some carrots for the reindeer. And my daughter was so excited about it. And when she woke up the next morning, she thought it was so hilarious that the empty wrapper from the protein cookie was sitting on the plate and the milk was gone and the carrots were bitten into, and she loved it. And of course, Santa loved it too because it was one of Santa's favorite protein cookies. It was a little bit of a twist on like the classic tradition that let us enjoy the magic of, the season, but allowing some allotted protein to be added into the day for Santa. Now, another tradition that we kind of started doing was for our breakfast, which was making these little Rudolph pancakes. They're super adorable. We used like bananas and strawberries and made like a little candy cane next to Rudolph. And we did Rudolph. And then we had like whipped cream and little blueberries for the eyes and a strawberry nose, which you could also do a raspberry nose, but we were doing strawberries. And then did some bacon for like the antlers. And my daughter loved it, of course. They were so cute. And for the pancake itself, you could opt for a little higher protein pancake mix like the Kodiak pancakes. But a lot of times, I'll just add some protein powder to one of the regular pancake mixes. Just like a coordinating flavor, like a vanilla, like that can be added to a pancake mix. You just add some. And so that kind of bumps up some of the protein without like making it into this weird pancake. And my daughter loved putting this thing together. So I made all the little pieces for her and let her make the plates and for all of us. And so we had 3 little Rudolph pancake plates. They was adorable and we totally enjoyed them. And it's in moments like these that remind me the holidays are about the traditions that we create, not just about indulging in everything and anything simply because it's there. And we can make these little tweaks to something without ruining it. Like, I'm not telling you to go soak chia seeds in water and mash up a banana and make a pancake like that. Like I'm not telling you to do anything that's like over the top. Now you could totally go do something like that if you wanted to, but we can make some little tweaks, like adding a little protein powder to the pancake mix where no one's really going to tell that much of a difference, but you know that you're going to get a little bit more protein for everybody and still, have the tradition and the memories. We're not ruining it by trying to make it into something weird. And sorry, if you like chia seed pancakes with banana, whatever, great. Good for you. I don't think my daughter would like it yet, but it's all about seeing where we can make these little tweaks while still enjoying these little traditions that we're creating. Now, let's talk about how to actually balance some of these indulgences, because it seems like you have parties, you have gatherings, you have get togethers left and right, and majority of the time, it's all centered around food. Yes, people are getting together, but they're getting together around food. And I'm always going to stress this first. Got to prioritize your protein and prioritize it early in the day. This is a game changer. If you know that you've got a holiday party or a big family dinner or something later in the day, what I'll do is I'll start my morning off with something that's going to be pretty high protein, because I know that later in the day, the meal that I'm most likely going to be having is going to be higher in carbs, higher in fats, and probably going to offer very little amounts of protein. Because usually when you're serving a bunch of people, not to go all into the money and everything, but it's cheaper to feed people carbs than it is to give everyone gourmet steaks. So opt for having a higher protein start to your day so that we can budget for some heavier carbs and fats later in the day. And this could be as simple as some scrambled eggs, you make an omelet, have some Greek yogurt little parfait thing, or even just a quick protein shake. I'm not much of a breakfast person. I just prefer eating a lot more food later in the day. So I would opt for having a protein shake as my breakfast, having a lighter lunch, but still making sure I'm getting veggies and protein, and then being able to budget for some of the heavier stuff later in the evening, completely guilt-free because I've balanced the rest of my day. The last thing I would want you to be doing is trying to skip all your meals and wait for the meal, starving, and then you go crazy and you overindulge because now your brain is like, just give me food because I haven't eaten all day. So then all your rational thinking just goes out the window. That is not a good strategy for you. That is also not a good strategy because you start to create this unhealthy relationship around the food that you're going to be having, because you're making that food like, ooh, I can't wait to have that. So you're kind of putting that up on a pedestal and creating a little of an imbalance around the food that you're having. Whenever we start doing that and we make some foods like higher than other foods, it creates this weird dynamic in your brain. We don't want to be doing that. That's giving too much power to certain foods. And it just creates this cycle where you're almost like rewarding yourself, but depriving yourself. And then you're craving it. And then you feel guilty because you caved into your cravings. We don't need to be doing any of that. We're creating balance from the very beginning, and we're not going to starve ourselves all day so that we can overindulge on Thanksgiving or overindulge on a Christmas dinner or whatever else you've got going on, or the Christmas party or the work party or the event where they're going to have a ton of food at and you're saving up for that. No, do not do that. Don't go all day without eating. We need to be running on some fuel. We need to be nourishing ourselves throughout the day. We are moms. We've got a lot of responsibilities and we need to have some balance throughout the day and not just run on empty. It's not a good strategy. Okay. So when you are going to these different holiday gatherings, the strategy I always take is filling up a good majority of your plate with vegetables first. And this is just a simple trick that can make a really big difference. I'll always head to the veggie platters or get the roasted veggies and get that on my plate first. Then I'll think about what protein is offered, how I can add some protein to that plate, and then I'll add the richer, heavier dishes. This way I'm kind of filling up on the more nutritious foods first on my plate and leaving a little bit of room for some of the things that I'm going to enjoy a little bit more. So we're creating some balance on that plate. And I know it can be challenging if things are set up like a buffet, which is why I highly recommend scoping out all the options before you get in line, because that gives you a good idea of what's being offered, and you can kind of mentally think about what's going to go on your plate as you're going through the line and not panicking. And then like it's so easy to like freak out in the moment and pick the wrong things and you're like, why did I pick that? I should have did this. I should have did that. But if you kind of have a good idea of what's being offered, that's going to be really helpful. Now that's like a buffet style. When it's plated, where you have a little choice of what you're going to be having, this is where I always try to eat a little something that's higher protein prior to coming to the event. Unless you have these super health conscious friends, a lot of times these meals that you're going to be having when it's set up like that are going to be really carb and fat heavy. And they're going to offer very little protein, very little veggies, or the veggies are going to be like swimming in a sauce, or they're going to be like in a salad of mayonnaise and whatever, not to knock people's food. But that's typically what ends up happening. And I've had clients in the past who thought that they were going to one of their health conscious friends' house for a plated dinner. They were like, oh, they'll have all these good options, only to find out when they got there, they didn't really have very good options, which is also why it's great to just volunteer to be the one who brings the vegetables. That way, you know for sure there's going to be some good veggies there that you can fill your plate up with, and then pair it with the other things that you want to have. So bring your vegetables, because a lot of people forget to do that. But I also want to make sure that you still have the things that you love. So you don't have to say no to everything. Pick a few things that you genuinely enjoy, whether it's like your grandma's homemade pie or the holiday cookies that you and your kids decorated together. It's picking and choosing, and it's like having some of the things, but not all of the things, and filling up on some nutritious choices first, and then leaving room for the things that we deem more fun, you know, or that mac and cheese that's to die for from Chef Eddie. My friend Savita knows what I'm talking about. That macaroni and cheese is so good. I could literally eat a whole tray of it, which is why I will not put that much on my plate, because I will eat all that. You fill up on the nutritious foods first, then leave space for those fun things that you look really forward to, but you know are probably a million calories, because they are. Now, one thing I like to remind myself during the holidays is that my daughter is watching me, how I approach food and treats. It's teaching her how to think about them too. And I am such a big proponent of leading by example, and by showing her that we can balance some treats with healthier options, and not like deeming the treats as like, oh my gosh, so amazing, and get super excited about them. Like, yeah, let's have cookies with it too. Like, keep it casual, keep it like it's not a big deal, not creating these power imbalances of food. So I'm modeling this positive relationship with food for not only myself, but for her as well. And then that lesson she can carry on with herself as she grows up too. So I do my best not to label foods as good and bad, or put certain foods up on that pedestal, because that just starts to create some of those unhealthy relationships with food. And I don't tell her, no, you can't have cookies. Like, you want to have a cookie? Go ahead, have it. You got your little, some of the things that she really likes. She likes raw broccoli. Do not cook it. She likes peppers. She likes cabbage. She likes all sorts of these crunchy vegetables. So have some of that. Put a cookie next to it. It's fine. Food is food. And then offer some protein, pairing them together. Like I said, food is food, and some offer more protein, some offer more sugar, but it's not having this strong focus on having to restrict something because it has a lot of sugar. It's just creating a balance and like normalizing it. Like, yeah, have this, put this on your plate too. Now we got everything. And not saying like eat your vegetables first. Like, just leading them. Like, you're eating your vegetables first. Maybe they'll copy you. Like, we need to lead by an example. It's going to trickle down to them as well. And we need to try not to create these uneven balances around the foods. You can teach your kids that it's okay to have some fun holiday foods, but also making room for the more nourishing foods. So just to recap, I'm going to give you a few ways that we just talked about how you can enjoy the holidays guilt-free while keeping your goals in mind, which is start your day with a higher protein breakfast to stay full and balanced throughout the day. Fill your plate with veggies first when you're at a gathering, then look for the protein, and then look for the more fun things. I don't even want to say fun things right here. Look for the things that you don't normally have that you want to enjoy. Pick a few of these things that you truly love, and so that you can enjoy them without the guilt. If you don't like those weird cookies with the icing on them, but they're there, but you don't even really like them, do you really need to have them? Or would you rather have like the apple pie, a slice of apple pie with some ice cream? Don't eat the foods that are not that exciting for you just because they're there. Pick the things you truly love and enjoy, and then have them guilt-free, because that is part of what you're planning. Like I tell my clients all the time, enjoy some of the things, just not all of the things. Nobody needs all of the things that are offered throughout the holidays. And above all, let's try focusing on the traditions and the memories that you're creating with your kids, whether it's making the Rudolph pancakes, leaving Santa a protein cookie. Like these are memories that your kid is going to remember forever. They're not going to remember how many cookies you ate. They're going to remember that we decorated cookies together and it was so much fun, that we would bake cookies together and it was so much fun. They're not going to remember how many cookies you had. So just remember this. You want the cookie? Have the cookie. But have some protein, have some veggies too. Enjoy the season. Cherish these special times with your little ones. Like they were only little for so long. I don't even want to think about that. And give yourself some grace along the way. And I also want you to remember that even if you overdo it one day, or even if you overdo it a few days, that is okay. You're not a failure. You didn't ruin anything. You don't need to start fresh on Monday. All you need to do is just keep going. And another really important thing, like I need to flag this. Just know that after meals like this, like where you go out, meals that you don't normally have, meals around the holidays, that scale is going to jump up several pounds. And no, you didn't gain that much fat overnight. That is water weight. And when you just get back to your normal structured routine of eating, within a couple of days, the water weight comes off and you kind of get back to normal with where your weight's been tracking. So no panicking when you see the scale jump up a day or 2 days after a holiday get together or whatever. There's no panicking allowed. You did not blow all your progress. That is water weight, and it will come off with a couple of days of just being back to your normal way of eating. And another thing for women, when you're around certain times of your cycle, you're naturally going to be retaining water during certain times. So if you pair that certain time of the month with these holiday meals or a special meal out, that scale may jump way up. And I just want to prepare you for that. That is not true weight gain. Not unless you ate like 4 slices of cheesecake at the Cheesecake Factory, because those are so calorie loaded. There is no way you ate that many calories for that to be true fat weight gain. So keep it in mind, and no panicking, please. No thinking that you need a detox, or that you're only going to drink protein shakes for the next 3 days, or you're going to do a juice cleanse or a 24-hour day fast, or something that's totally unsustainable. That's not what we're trying to create here. We're trying to create balance. And if you fall into that cycle of trying to be overly restrictive after overindulging, you're going to get stuck in that yo-yo cycle. And that's not where we want to be. We are trying to create sustainable habits for long-term success. Keep the awareness that the weight will probably jump up. Maybe don't even look at the scale for a week or whatever. But if you have that knowledge and you pay attention to it and you recognize it and you just keep eating your normal way of eating, the scale normalizes and you continue making the progress that you're trying to make. But I just want to warn you that that happens, and it's water weight, and don't freak out. You didn't blow everything. Now, if you found today's episode helpful, I'd love if you share it with a mom friend who might need a little extra encouragement during the holiday season. And make sure to rate and review the podcast as well so that more moms out there can find it and hear all the future episodes to come. So until next time, stay nourished and keep on thriving. I will see you next week.